You need to watch this if you struggle with fear or love a good scare. The jester will prepare a place for you. Imagine a room cloaked in darkness. Your heart races, senses on high alert. Welcome to the Jester Game, brought to you by the twisted minds behind Storybook coins. This Jester Game will leave you mad. Here's how it works. A host, dressed as a jester, sets up a room filled with your worst nightmares. It could be anything, from creepy dolls to spine-chilling whispers. Your challenge? To sit or stand in that room in complete darkness for the desired amount of time. Feeling brave yet? Here's the catch. If you decide you can't handle it, you can signal to quit at any moment. But if you stick it out, you'll have to face what's in the room before claiming your prize. Think you can outsmart the jester and conquer your fears? This game isn't just about endurance, it's about confronting what lurks in the shadows of your mind. So gather your courage, dim the lights, and step into the jester's realm. The prize awaits, but so does the terror.
That's really and all of this.
This is Storybook Radio.
Silas Venn stands alone in the living room, watching rain slide down the patio glass. Dark hair, neatly combed, frames a face trained into calm. In the glass, his reflection watches him back, with the stillness of a man who has spent years learning how to seem harmless. The living room feels smaller at night. A gray couch faces the television above a low black console, and one lamp leaves the staircase near the hallway, half covered in shadow. On the wall, the frame wedding photo catches just enough light to show two people smiling as if they once believed the pose. Mara's coffee mug sits cold on the kitchen counter. He can still see her there, dark hair loose around her face, tired eyes moving from him to the phone vibrating in his pocket. A thin scratch marked the skin near her chin. Silas had noticed it, the way he noticed every detail that might matter later. That morning, he had caught her with his unlocked phone in her hand. She had not heard him come in. Her thumb hovered over a message thread with no saved names, only numbers and clipped instructions that did not belong to any normal line of work. A time, an address, one phrase still glowing in the reflection of her eyes. Replacement window. Narrowing. Mara looked up slowly. What does that mean? Silas smiled before he knew what answer he planned to give. It's nothing. But she had already seen too much. Tonight, after the third vibration, she had asked, "Work again?" "It's late," he said. "We shouldn't do this tonight." The buzz came again, small and ugly in the kitchen. "What kind of work needs you after midnight?" Silas gave her the kind of smile husbands give when they want a question to stop being reasonable. "Nothing you need to worry about." Mara left without slamming the door. The soft click of the latch carried more finality than anger would have. Outside, the neighborhood blurs into smeared porch lights and dark lawns. Silas checks his phone again, though no new message has appeared. For a few seconds, the black screen reflects him faintly, not enough to accuse him, but enough to make him look twice. The phone lights in his hand. Silas answers before the second vibration. "Repeat it." A voice crackles through the line. "We are in position." Silas turns from the window. "You're early. Our window is narrowing." "That's because you're making it narrow," Silas says. He rubs his thumb along the edge of the phone and looks toward the front door. "She left angry. That changes the timing." A pause. "Do we proceed?" He glances toward the front door. "Not until she's inside." Lightning pulses beyond the glass, throwing his reflection onto the patio door. For that brief second, the face looking back at him seems stretched by the rain into something almost human. Then the room darkens again. The scene is almost ready. Silas rubs his thumb along the phone's edge. Almost doesn't count. The line crackles. "I said not yet." He ends the call. Across the room, the television sits dark above the console. Mara bought it 2 weeks ago, claiming the old one made every picture look washed out. Silas argued that it worked fine, but Mara said she wanted something in the house to feel new. He let her have that. The way a man lets someone choose curtains for a room he already plans to leave. Now the black screen reflects him standing in the living room, with the phone still in his hand. He reaches for the remote. He needs a voice in the house, something ordinary enough to push back against the silence Mara left behind. Late-night television, familiar noise, a world where people come home from arguments, watch whatever is on, and sleep beside each other without wondering what else has been sleeping there too. The television turns on, static flashes once, then a bright studio fills the screen. The remote skips past channels that show nothing but gray snow. Then the picture settles. Channel 2. A daytime talk show called Kelly is airing, though nothing about the hour belongs to daytime. Kelly sits in a cream-colored chair across from a woman in a dark green dress, her fingers stacked with silver rings. A graphic slides beneath her. Sway, psychic medium. Silas almost changes the channel. He has never trusted psychics. People who claim to see through the veil usually know less about it than anyone. They dress guesses as gifts and sell vague language to people desperate enough to mistake it for truth. Still, he does not press the button. Kelly leans forward. You've helped families find answers in cases that were closed too quickly. Disappearances, drownings, falls, deaths people were told to accept. Sway nods, though her attention seems fixed somewhere beyond Kelly, past the cameras, as if she is listening to another broadcast beneath the one everyone else can hear. Some things are accepted because they are easier than questions, Sway says. The audience quiets. Kelly's smile holds, though it loses warmth. Are you saying some accidents are not accidents? Sway looks toward the camera. Some accidents are designed. Silas tightens his grip on the remote. The words enter the room softly and settle there like smoke. Kelly gives a small laugh, trying to pull the segment back into something safe. That's a frightening idea. It should be, Sway says. A man can live beside you, sleep beside you, smile beside you, and still spend his nights arranging endings. Silas's phone buzzes. He keeps his eyes on the television 1 second too long before answering. Silas lowers the volume without looking away from Sway. Tell me. Subject is ahead of schedule. The remote creaks under Silas's thumb. Hold position. Let the house do the talking. On television, Kelly shifts in her chair. When you say arranging endings, do you mean murder? Sway lowers her gaze to her hands, turning one ring slowly around her finger. I mean, death can be staged to look like the world did it. Silas turns his shoulder from the television, as if that could keep Sway from hearing him. Keep it clean, keep it calm, keep it empty. Sway faces the camera, as if she has heard him. The dead around him were never meant to look murdered, she says. They were meant to look unfortunate. Silas ends the call, but Sway's attention remains fixed on the camera. Her smile returns slowly, no longer aimed at Kelly or the studio audience, but at him. Someone watching already knows. Silas changes the channel. The screen jumps through static. Channel 3. The next channel bursts open with color. Painted houses line a perfect little block. Music bounces through the speakers, and the title, Sunny Street, curls across the sky in cheerful yellow letters. Mr. Sunny, a smiling husband in a blue suit, waves goodbye to Mrs. Sunny from the front steps of a yellow house. Mrs. Sunny waves back, and the curtain closes across the window. Mr. Sunny's smile remains. He opens the trunk, lifts out a toolbox, gloves, and a clipboard labeled Accident Report. Silas stares. The music stays cheerful as Mr. Sunny loosens one screw from a railing, spills a small puddle near a kitchen sink, and tugs an electrical cord until the rubber splits just enough to show the wire underneath. The narrator sings, "If nobody pushed, nobody pays." Static breaks through Silas's phone. Timing is off. Silas steps closer to the television, lowering his voice beneath the cartoon music. Then stop rushing. On screen, Mrs. Sunny appears at the top of the stairs. Why do accidents always happen when you're around? Mr. Sunny turns toward the audience and gives a wide, painted smile. Because accidents don't need suspects. The point is ready. Silas's eyes stay on the painted staircase. Only if she gets there right? Mrs. Sunny blinks. For 1 second, her face stretches out of its simple shape and resembles Mara. The jaw softens, the eyes darken, and the painted smile settles into the expression Mara wears whenever she knows he is lying. Mr. Sunny raises his clipboard and checks off a box. Fall. Silas's grip tightens around the phone. Wait for me. Mr. Sunny turns another page. The next box is already marked. Wife. Silas changes the channel. Channel 5. The picture jumps, darkens, and settles into a crime movie already deep into its third act. Rain falls over a city street. Police lights pulse against brick walls. A detective in a brown coat stands behind yellow tape, staring at a woman's body at the bottom of an apartment stairwell. A coroner crouches beside her. First report says she fell. The detective looks up the staircase. People grab for things when they fall. They leave a mess. This one didn't. Silas stands in the middle of the living room, remote hanging loose in his hand. The detective climbs the stairs slowly. A gloved hand moves along the railing until it shifts beneath the lightest pressure. There it is, he says. Loose enough? The coroner looks up from the body. Enough to cause the fall? The detective gives the railing another careful push, watching it shift just enough to satisfy a report, not enough to invite a second look. Enough for the report. Silas's phone rings. We are ready. Silas turns away from the detective on screen. Not yet. She's close. Silas turns toward the door. How close? Approaching the turn. He looks toward the hallway, listening past the rain. Then let her arrive. A pause. The house is prepared. Prepared how? Entry path set, stair point marked, window closing. Silas closes his eyes for half a second. Prepared is one thing. On television, the detective walks through the apartment, studying small details. A rug not quite centered, a glass of water too close to the table's edge, a lamp cord stretched across the floor like carelessness. Whoever did this knew what people would accept, the detective says. The coroner pulls the sheet higher over the body. Accept? A fall? A bad railing? A weak step? Give people something ordinary and they stop looking for the hand behind it. Silas opens his eyes and faces the front door. Make sure they accept it. Static parts around the update. She hasn't stopped. Silas's voice drops. Then don't make her. On television, the detective notices a wedding photo on the apartment wall. He lifts it from the hook and studies the smiling couple inside the frame. The wife in the picture has Mara's eyes. Silas steps closer before he can stop himself. The detective says, most men who kill strangers want distance. This feels different. The coroner looks at him. Different how? The detective sets the picture down. Personal? Silas changes the channel, channel 7. The next channel drops him into a football game under stadium lights, the crowd roaring loud enough to make the living room feel briefly crowded. The offense trails by 4 near midfield with less than 2 minutes left. The quarterback takes the snap, drifts back, and throws deep along the sideline. The pass sails too high, but after the ball hits the turf, the receiver snaps his head back and collapses as if the defender struck him late. Flags fly. The crowd erupts before the replay appears. One commentator laughs under his breath. That's gamesmanship. Sometimes you sell the call. The other commentator does not sound amused. That was not much contact, but the head snap sells it, and now they get 15 yards. On replay, the defender barely touches him. The receiver's body does the rest, twisting toward the sideline, one hand reaching for his helmet while his eyes search for the official. Static breaks through Silas's phone again. We need confirmation. Silas stops near the couch. You get confirmation when I give it. The timing is unstable. He watches the flag land near the sideline, then settle it. On screen, the next play ends near the boundary. A runner steps out, then throws himself forward after a defender brushes him. Another flag lands near the sideline. A graphic appears across the bottom of the screen. Questionable late hit extends drive. Silas stares at the replay, where the receiver's head snaps back too late to look natural. Too much sells the wrong thing. He changes the channel, channel 9. The screen brightens into a late-night shopping channel. All polished smiles, spotless counters, and products arranged as if danger can be solved in 4 easy payments. 2 hosts stand behind a table of home safety products. Bath mats, stair treads, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide alarms, cord protectors, and emergency flashlights. One host lifts a bath mat. Most accidents happen at home. The other gestures toward a small staircase display. A loose rug, a wet floor, a damaged cord. One small detail can change everything. Silas stops pacing. His phone rings. Silas answers before the second ring. Report. We are at the house. His eyes move to the front door. Whose house? Yours. Silas turns toward the black window. What are you doing at my house? The target is arriving. On television, one host holds up a frayed cord. Frayed cords are especially dangerous during storms, she says. One wrong touch can turn a preventable hazard into tragedy. Silas turns toward the staircase, counting the steps without moving his lips. The water? Set. And the rail? Worn. Leave it alone, Silas says. The host smiles at the camera. Sometimes the smallest flaw is enough to explain the worst outcome. Silas's stare fixes on the place where Mara is supposed to land. The phone crackles. Do not break contact. Silas presses the remote, but the broadcast continues. He presses again, harder. Silas changes the channel. Channel 10. The brightness cuts out. A local news desk appears in cooler light, with a rain-streaked skyline behind the anchor and a headline sharp enough to stop Silas from changing the channel. Accidental deaths on the rise. Silas keeps the remote pointed at the television, ready to move on, but the anchor's voice holds him. Authorities are reporting a sharp increase in accidental deaths across the region, including falls, electrical incidents, drownings, and single-vehicle crashes. A chart appears beside him, the red line climbing month after month. What makes the trend more unusual, the anchor continues, is that missing person reports have declined sharply, a trend officials are calling encouraging, though some families say the numbers do not match what they are seeing. Silas stops breathing evenly. Static crawls through the speaker. We are losing time. Then stop wasting it. The broadcast cuts to a reporter standing near a blocked-off staircase outside an apartment building. Police say there are no signs of foul play in most of these incidents, the reporter says. Still, some families believe the scenes feel too clean, as if the answers were waiting before anyone asked the questions. The camera shifts to a grieving woman holding a photo. My sister didn't just fall, she says. I don't care what they wrote down. She called me that morning and said someone had been following her. Silas turns away, but her voice follows him. The anchor returns. Officials are urging the public not to panic. They say the drop in missing person cases should be viewed as progress, not suspicion. Static crawls through the speaker again. She's at the door. Silas turns toward the front entrance. If she reaches the scene before it's ready, you stop. We cannot stop. Silas's voice hardens. You can always stop. A pause. Then the voice answers, colder this time. Not after the process begins. Silas goes still, the phone pressed so tightly to his ear that the plastic edge leaves a mark against his skin. For a moment, even the rain seems to pull back from the windows. Then a key scrapes in the front door. Mara is home. Channel 1. Mara steps inside with rain darkening the shoulders of her coat. Her eyes move from Silas to the television, wary with the suspicion of someone who has already been afraid of the answer. The news anchor is still speaking beneath the sound against the windows. Silas presses the remote. The television does not change. He presses again, harder. Nothing. The warning seems to glow brighter beneath the storm. Accidental deaths on the rise. Mara's expression changes slowly. Silas? On television, the anchor turns to a new camera. When the wrong piece arrives before the story is ready, he says, the subject may still be present. Silas's face drains. He glances at Mara, then back at the broadcast. If the channel keeps going, it will tell her everything before he can get her upstairs. The fall, the setup, the body meant to replace her. He drops the useless remote and lunges behind the television. Go upstairs. What is this? Go upstairs, Mara? The phone crackles on the floor where he dropped it. Do not break contact. Mara hears the voice and looks down. Who is that? Silas finds the cord. Lightning flashes through the curtains, whitening the room. He pulls the plug. The room explodes with white light. Electricity locks Silas in place. His hand clenches around the cord as the television pops, the screen folding into darkness. His body drops hard against the floor before any sound can leave him. For a moment, the house holds only the sound against the windows. Mara stands by the door, unable to move. "Silas?" He does not answer. She rushes to him and drops to her knees. His eyes are half open, his body still, one hand curled near the unplugged cord. "Silas, wake up." Her hands shake as she reaches for her purse, but it has fallen near the door. Silas's phone lies closer, glowing on the rug beside him. She grabs it to call an ambulance. Before she can try to unlock it, an incoming call takes over the screen. A voice blasts through the speaker. "Ray, we've got a man down. Get out of there." Mara freezes. The voice is not talking to her. Another voice answers beneath static, lower and colder. "Too late." Mara turns. A figure is already there, standing halfway through the wall with a woman in his arms. Her mind cannot place what she is seeing. The wall behind him has rippled open around his body, not cracked or broken, but loosened like wet paint disturbed by a hand. The plaster bends around his shoulders and waist, as if the house is letting him through. He wears the rough outline of a man, but the body does not hold the lie well. The arms hang lower than they should. The face carries the blank smoothness of unfinished clay, and the eyes catch no reflection from the room. The woman in his arms hangs limp. Mara sees the wet hair first, dark against the woman's cheek. Then she sees the mouth, the shape of the jaw, and the thin scratch near the chin. Her scratch. The body in his arms is hers, copied with terrible care, ready to be placed at the bottom of the stairs, where grief would know what to call it. The figure studies Mara, then the body in his arms, then Silas on the floor. Only Silas is no longer Silas. The face Mara kissed goodnight, argued with, and searched for answers in, has begun to come apart. The skin thins into a pale gray film. The mouth draws back too wide, revealing narrow, glassy teeth. Beneath the cheeks, the bones shift as if something trapped inside him has finally stopped pretending. The wedding ring hangs loose around a finger that is no longer shaped like a man's. Mara backs toward the door. The figure vanishes. For a second, the room is still except for the weather pressing at the glass. Then Mara looks toward the window. A beam of light cuts through the storm outside, pale and sharp against the dark. It rises into the clouds, and within it, a craft lifts soundlessly into the sky before disappearing into the night. Mara stands there until the light is gone. Then Silas's phone begins to ring again. She looks down at it glowing beside his body. The name on the screen is not a name. Only one word appears. Unknown. Mara waits through the first ring, then the second. On the third, she bends down. Her thumb hovers above the screen. Her eyes move to Silas, to the window, then to the bottom of the stairs where the copy of her would have been left for the world to find. She does not know who is on the other end. She only knows they expected orders, and fear has taught her how to sound useful. Something inside her steadies. She answers. She does not say hello. She looks at Silas on the floor, the wedding ring loose around a finger that is no longer shaped like a man's. "He's dead," she says. Static breathes through the line. Mara's eyes move toward the window, where the last trace of light has disappeared into the clouds. "What do you want me to do next?"
In a world where stories are the essence of life, what if you could be part of creating the next great tale? Introducing Storybook, a community where your imagination comes to life. A place where writers, readers, and dreamers unite to create something extraordinary. With Storybook, your ideas, your stories, and your characters are more than just thoughts. They become part of a larger narrative. Less than 1 billion Storybook tokens are powered by the Solana blockchain. By holding Club's tokens, you gain the power to pitch ideas, give input, and even become a character in the stories you help create. Submit your stories, collaborate with other talented writers, and see your work come to life. Storybook isn't just about storytelling. It's about making your mark in a community that values creativity and innovation. From anthologies to graphic novels, from films to community-driven magazines, Storybook is where your ideas take flight and where your voice is heard. Become part of a movement where your creativity shapes the future of storytelling. Welcome to Storybook, a community where stories come to life.